I can't believe it was 40 years ago, but it was. I was 10 years old. I'm a happy little fifth grader. I'm the youngest of the 5 Call kids growing up in our happy little house in Norwell, Massachusetts. But on this particular night, I'm not a happy camper because I'm lying in bed and I'm wide awake and I'm terrified. And it's because when I go to school the next day, there's going to be a spelling bee, and I hate spelling bees. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a good student. It's just that spelling was never my thing, and I also didn't really care for public humiliation. So yeah, I hate spelling bees. But it gets to be 2 in the morning, and I'm desperate, and I got to do something. So I do the only thing I know to do. I get up out of bed, I turn my pajamas inside out, I put them back on, and I climb back into bed because the pajama trick is what you do when you need a snow day. So I'm able to get back to sleep. And a couple hours later, when the alarm goes off, I jump out of bed and I run over to the window and I see nothing, no snow. So I'm dead man walking out to the bus stop. But on the way, I notice that the wind is actually picking up, and it's blowing from the wrong direction. It's blowing from the east. And as I climb onto that bus, I catch a whiff of the breeze, and I swear, it smells like snow. And sure enough, as I get off the bus at school, I spot it, the first snowflake. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how my utter dislike for spelling bees started the blizzard of '78. The storm of the century, but I didn't know that yet. I'm just smiling as the sky's getting darker and the snow's getting heavier, and that wind is getting crazy. And as the lights start to flicker in the school, it happens. They announce that they're sending us home, that school is closing, but all I'm hearing is there will be no goddamn spelling bee today. And I'm ecstatic. I'm bouncing from seat to seat on the bus ride home, and I'm telling everyone about the pajama trick, that I did it and it worked, and I made it snow, and it's generally conceded that I'm a hero and it's my storm. And what a storm! My God! The first couple days was just a blur of snowball fights and sledding, and after 2 days we had 2 feet of snow and it was still coming down. In fact, when we woke up on the 3rd day, we couldn't get out the front door because the wind had blown an 8-foot snowdrift up against our house. And after 4 days, we still hadn't seen the first snow plow, which was interesting because then on day 5, my mom announces that we are out of food. But this is not a problem because the entire Call family, 2 parents, 5 kids, even the dog, we walk the 2 miles up to the supermarket, and as we're dragging the groceries home on our sleds, we just walk right down the middle of every street because there's no traffic, there's no cars, there's no noise. It's just our boots in the snow and the wind in the branches. I was so proud of my storm. And we get home and we bring the groceries in. The phone rings. Dad picks up the phone. And after a minute, I hear him say these words. "What do you mean your Cadillac floated away?" And I think this is kind of funny until I see Dad's face and I know it's not a joke. And he explains to us. He was talking to Uncle Tad, who lives in Rockport, which is this little coastal town north of Boston. And it's really these coastal towns that got hammered during the storm because that crazy breeze from the east, well, it just sort of blew the Atlantic Ocean into these little towns, and then it carried away everything that wasn't nailed down, like Uncle Tad's Cadillac. And I'm starting to kind of get a joke that maybe there's a downside to this natural disaster that I've caused. And as much as I try not to, I start to hear what they're saying about my storm on the news. But there's one story that in particular that really stuck with me because it happened in the town right next to ours to a family that looked a lot like my family. And they lost their power on the first day. And when they realized that there were not enough sweaters in the world to keep them warm, the dad goes to a neighbor and he borrows this old kerosene heater. I had to ask my dad, what the hell is a kerosene heater? And in the process of trying to light this dinosaur up, the dad manages to burn down their happy little house, which is sad until I find out that the dog didn't get out of the house. So I was ready after 10 days to go back to school. And in all the buzz and all the excitement about the storm and the talk of the blizzard, not a single kid mentions my pajama trick. And I was fine with that. And I know it's crazy. It's crazy to think that I could cause a blizzard. But after 40 years, I'm still not convinced. Because on that first day back to school, it's like the universe had to have the last laugh. Because on that first day back to school, they had that damn spelling bee. And true to form, I bombed out after 2 rounds. But unlike every other spelling bee that I just did miserably in, to this day, I will never forget the word that I got wrong in February of '78. Kerosene. Kerosene. Thank you.